right, welcome into Prop 5 here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick at 5 Reasons Sports. I got David Eversole. You can follow him at David W. Eversole. Make sure that you download the PrizePicks app, Google Play Store, Apple Store, or PrizePicks.com. Use the code 5. They've got a new promotion. You put down $5, you play it, they give you 50. So it's a 10-to-1 match, no longer the 1-to-1 match. A 10-to-1 match, $5 down. Play 50, no catch. It's pretty damn cool, right? So use the code 5, F-I-V-E. And of course, you can play NFL, but all the other sports, and we will have our regular NBA shows coming up in the middle of October. But first, Dolphins, Bills, Thursday night. We're going to do a couple shows on this. David and I are jumping in on this one. Make sure also that you catch Major Money. He's on here 3 times a week. Our guy, Major Passons. We told you to fade him, but actually that hasn't gone so well because he's actually hit on some things lately. All right, let's get to the Dolphins here. It's a little up in the air because Mostert's not playing, but A-Chain's questionable, which means Jalen Wright could start. I can't recommend taking any of Devon's props here because I don't know that he's going to play. I mean, he didn't practice all week. So there's a couple of them on here, the 22.5 rush attempts in the first rush yards in the first 5 attempts, which would be easy money typically, although he didn't get there in the last game. Most of his damage was done receiving, and then half a rushing or receiving touchdown. So I think just stay away from him. I think you just have to wait until Jalen Wright's put on the board and then make a decision there. Let me ask you this. Hill or Waddle?
Waddle.
Thursday. Okay. I'm with you.
I like Waddle in this game. Just I think with the secondary matchup on the short week, they're going to try to obviously contain Tyreek Hill as much as possible. So I'm looking for a big game from Waddle. I think, I know you liked him over the 5 receptions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take him actually over either the 26.5 receiving on his first 2, or he's got a pretty sweet goblin play at just 39.5 receiving yards. Yeah. But you could take his regular number as only 49.5. So
that's low, actually, very low.
Well, they're marking it. It's weird. It's showing up as another goblin.
Yeah, so I don't know why.
Maybe a slightly elevated, reduced payout, if you will. So I'm seeing some of those multiple goblin type plays. But yeah, I like Waddle a lot of this game. There's no tight end numbers on the board yet. Like you said, with H.N. Maybe questionable in the passing game, he's going to look to Waddle early and often.
Well, let me go through some of the Hill numbers. I'm with you on Waddle. I would play the 5 receptions, but I'm certainly with you on the yards. Hill, 10.5 targets. I just always get nervous about this, not because Tyreek's going to have another pregame incident, but because he always misses a series or 2, and so I just worry about the targets with him. So I don't know that I would go to the 10.5 on that. 25.5 receiving yards on the first 2 receptions seems like a pretty good one. The 7 receptions, again, I might play it. 30.5 yards as well. I think what is it? As the longest reception. Yeah, that one's interesting too. So those are ones that I look at. I also saw Jalen Phillips on here, and I feel like he's going to get stronger game to game. What was he? A half a sack?
Quarter sack.
I might play that one. I will tell you what I really like on the Bills side, though. I like James Cook over the rushing attempts. If you look at his last few, well, I mean, against Miami last year in the playoff game, I guess it was, he got 13. But in the playoffs and going forward now, it seems like more of a focus. They don't have as much on the outside now. So he had 18 against Pittsburgh last year in the playoffs, 18 against Kansas City, 19 against Arizona in the opener. So I think they stay with that. And I don't see why they wouldn't, honestly. I know that the Dolphins had a very good grade against the run in this last game, but Buffalo will try to run the ball on them. We've seen that in the past, so I would play him. And then on Josh Allen, I mentioned his numbers today. The rushing yards for Josh Allen is one I always look for against the Dolphins. I looked at he's 10-2 in his 12 games against the Dolphins. He averages 68 yards rushing. 38.5 looks good to me. And you look at it, the last 5 games, he has gone over easily that rushing total in 4 of them. And the other one, he just creeped over it at 39 against Arizona. So I'm going to play Josh Allen running. I don't think they ever have an answer for him. I know it's a new defensive coordinator, but I mean, I think he clears that easy.
I like his demon play, actually, this 1.5 pass TDs. Last year, he had 6 passing touchdowns versus the Dolphins. So I like that number. I like the over half an INT as well. He's prone to making that 1 or 2 boneheaded decisions throughout any given Sunday. And also maybe the 0.5 rush receiving touchdowns. He could get easily a short yardage carry. I didn't like the 8.5 rush attempts. It seemed like it was just a borderline play. I'd like that number maybe at like 7.5, a little bit lower. But, he's done a lot of damage with his legs against the Dolphins, obviously. If I was going to go in the rushing, I would probably just maybe hedge a little bit and take the Goblin at 24.5 on Josh Allen. That's a layup for me, honestly.
Yeah, I think so. The other one I like a lot is Tua over 4.5 rush yards.
Mm-hmm. He's going to have to get outside the pocket. Greg Rousseau had 3 sacks last week.
Right.
And he's going to be fired up on primetime night in front of the Miami crowd, obviously, him being from the U. I think Rousseau is going to be impactful in this game also. And he was on the board. I want to say he had a demon play at just a quarter, or just a regular play. I'm sorry, just a quarter sack, which I like that as well for the Bills.
I like that one too. I don't know that I would play Tua over the 269.5 passing yards. Probably eclipses it, but his numbers have gotten a little rich here. But the rushing yards to me is a gimme. He's going to have 1 scramble. He'll have. You look at his last. Plus, this is more of a concerted effort by him to do this. They talked about it, but you look at the first game. He went over, what do you have, 11 yards rushing 11 yards in the last game. Kansas City in the playoff game, 25. Last time against Buffalo, 7. Last game against Baltimore, 14. So he's gone over the 4.5 his last 4. I think it's pretty much a given.
Yeah,
so those are
play as well.
Now let me ask you this: hypothetically, Jalen Wright gets, let's say, let's find Devin's not playing. They put Jalen Wright on the board. They might put Jeff Wilson on the board. Would you put either right? Let's say both Jeff Wilson and I don't know. Let's say both Wilson and Wright are 32.5 rushing yards. Would you play either over?
No. It's just too uncertain. I think they're gonna go. I think they're gonna have to go pass heavy if they're down to RB3 and RB4. I think they're gonna be pretty pass heavy. But in the second half, Wilson could get some work, obviously. Yeah. But I know the 8 in the game was the one I was looking forward to seeing where that number came out after last week's performance through the air. So, right now I'm just on the fence for any of the Dolphins running backs until I have a little bit clearer picture on who's available and who's going to get, it's always hard to say with these guys, based on personnel. They come out with 2 backs. Who knows with the Dolphins what they're going to do. And they use the fullback a lot as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Well, the Dolphins, I would take a look at Wilson if we find out Devin's not playing, then I might play Wilson
line up there. He's got the demon play.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I might play the half a touchdown with him. Because I feel like they will use him around the goal line, whereas they don't really use the others. Well, they use Mostert, but they don't use.
I'm curious to see if they put Jonnu Hill on the board.
I don't. Well, Jonnu Smith. Yeah. Well, Jonnu Smith didn't do much in the last game. And
Julian Hill. I meant. Sorry, Julian Hill.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we'll see. I think, again, I'm with you that he always wants to throw the ball, and it's a short week, and he's going to go with what he trusts. And so I could absolutely see a scenario where if the top two running backs are not playing, the 2 is thrown at 45 times. It's possible. So, all right. Well, anyway, even so, I still think he gets the 4.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, I like that.
David, thank you. How are you? Travalis. Make sure we've got all these folks here following us right now. Inside Leverage Show is starting in 2 minutes here on the channel, so make sure you check that out. Our crew is there every single Wednesday night. Again, use the code 5. We'll probably have another show for you tomorrow, somebody from our network, certainly Major, others, as we get closer to kickoff at 8:20 and we find out who's actually playing for the Dolphins. Have a good one, everybody.